I know, you see that now they're coming, now they're starting to build up. I do foresee a fair bit of damage from the vomit. You see there are some cops at the bottom that are trying to shoot at me, and they're spitting straight up and hitting everything. You shall not pass. Or, one ring to rule them all. Of course, I never quite get that one. I was like, why do you need the ring to rule them all? I mean, isn't like sort of a set of keys to open up and enter much better? Very confusing, very confusing. So instead, today's property just got on the market. It has 3 parts. You can buy one, you can buy the second, third, or all of them. And why it even comes with a swimming pool. Now, isn't that really cool? I mean, swimming pool? Does it get better? Now, so if it's a hot day, you can always go swimming. Of course, it's a little bit cold here. We are a little bit in a snow biome. Probably there's a desert nearby, but nope, this is a cold place, unfortunately. So, this is actually a base that is inspired by Bru Dog's comment to make sort of towers spiraling up in a fighting base. And I just took that and expanded with some additional features to add something extra. And I called the 2 towers versus the Trident base, and of course we were standing on the Trident, kind of ugly Trident, but you get the point. Looks more like a Trident, maybe like this. Ooh, it looks like an alien. Maybe like one of those space invaders. Anyway, so let's get back into it. So it has 2 towers with ramps that are spiraling sort of upwards from the middle. They go up and around and up, and then there are platforms out on both sides. And let me give this one, and we also combine together into a third one. So it's sort of like the yin and the yang, the black and white granite, Sauron versus Saruman versus Gondor, or whatever. Together they all assault the Aquaman Trident. And the question is his powers going to be sufficient to keep us safe? So the attackers will be running up, and they'll be falling down into this pool. And it's going to cost damage, but it also slows them down. And slowing them down is good because the aim is to try to prevent too much damage on that side from the sort of fall damage temper tantrum. So that's part of why we're using the pool as well. Water slows them down. And then they're going to be climbing up the ladders before they restart their lonely climb together up on the towers, where they can run up and fall down again. And some are going to go for a swim, and might cool them off, might wash them off, but make sure you clean the pool water, because you don't want to get a skin infection or something. That would be quite gross, right? It's like, ew. So I'm going to do a walkthrough of this one, the general design, what improvements you could do, and at the end I'm going to run through various assaults by the zombies. We're going to have individual zombies, we're going to have groups of them, we're going to have some blood moon hordes ranging from the basic one to the max game stage to max game stage, and probably 64 concurrent zombies. So that's going to be at the end, and you of course wouldn't want to miss that. 64 zombies coming and attacking a year. How many bases can do that? Actually, I'm not even sure this base can do it. I think it should be all right, but we'll find out. And hopefully it holds up well. So I'm sure you're going to be wanting to put in a very generous offer here, of course. So when you do that and put that in the comment section after you like and subscribe, tell me, are you buying the black one? Are you buying the white one? Or are you buying the Trident? Are you buying all of them? It's important. The Trident is going to be higher prices, so dig deep into, well, actually, don't dig deep into and collapse it. I mean, dig deep into your pocket. Be generous. Important. So I built this one with ramps up. So let's do the white one. So they'll be coming here from whichever direction, and they'll be running up here, slowly making their way around. And the reason I have them too wide is that I want to have more than one. If you have one, the problem is that they might block each other, and then they decide that there's no way forward and start bashing things. So that could happen if you have too little, but too much and it becomes really bulky. So, I started with 2, and we'll see, because we have 2 ramps, so that's at least 4 sort of abreast that can walk, and that should be able to handle quite a bit of them. And as they reach the top, depending on where the player or players are, they'll either run here, they'll run over here, or they'll run over there. Because it's the distance here is 4 on all of them. You see this one is indented and this one is extended a little bit, so they're all 4 equally. and this one is slightly wider because it's 3, so they will be running here. And reason of having multiple platforms is one, that if you are multiple players, you might want to spread them out so that you have some running here, some here, some here, depending on where the players are standing. And if you're just doing this by yourself, if you are, let's say you start in this one and this one gets damaged or something because of cop vomit or whatever reason, then you can actually shift over to one of the sides and it will work exactly the same way. So that helps. Just spread them out and make it better. And now if you fall down into the water, and now I'm wet. I'm actually sinking. Oh, that's really slow. Interesting. That was a really slow sinking. I didn't realize that. I think I'm both wet and cold. So if you look up, you'll see that there's a lot of overhang here, both on the jumping side and on the opposite side. And the reason is to minimize and try to minimize the temper tantrum. As they jump over here, the further it is over to this side, the better, because they have less time to run over and bash things. The water will help, and either way I put some of the spikes just to minimize swell. There will be some damage. When I was doing some testing, I noticed that they will bash even the air, and I was seeing damage all the way over here, even though there's actually no way for them to fall down anywhere close enough to bash. But it's one of those bugs that are happening in the game. It's just they bash in the air and they'll damage something. So take that into account. It's probably not going to be enough to really break anything unless something really goes wrong and they start tunneling in, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Having the spikes might help a little bit as well. So let's see here. We have the overhang, and it's important. If you have them too close, there'll be more bashing, and obviously we don't want to have that happen. Let me see if I go. Nope, that makes me fall over. Okay, right. So rather than have ramps up, and I could have ramps up on this side or something, I decided, hey, let me just go with straight ladders. It looks a little bit more neat, and it avoids me having to dig this long ramps up anywhere, which might be just... it's ugly. I think ladders are pretty good. They're metal, so even if there's a cop explosion or something like that, they should be pretty okay. You just want to make sure you always have a way up. And if you don't have any way up, they're going to start digging in, and they'll probably digging in here when you're standing there. And eventually, things are going to be collapsing, and you don't want to have that one. One positive thing about having ladders is that you could imagine putting some blade traps up here that would start chopping off the heads as, let's say you have a blade trap here. Any coming up here or here would start chopping off the heads, and you could, remove like the alternate of these ladders as well and put blade traps here, so that when the zombies climb up, they lose their heads as well. That's something that you could do. You could also, of course, have let's say barbed wire or something on the sides to further slow them walking up here. It might not be needed because you already have the water down here that is slowing them down. So that's going to definitely make sure that as they fall down, it's going to take them a long time to get back up here. Now let's get down here, and coming around here, I put some spikes just to stop blocking off from zombies that are walking past. Wandering zombies and everything like that can sometimes, otherwise they'll go up, they'll be stuck by a block, and they'll start bashing. Having some of these metal spikes will help. And the Trident. So let's look at the Trident, which is obviously the central part of where the player will be. I put a hatch evader. Okay, let me get up here. And this leads me up. And of course, there's a way down as well with hay bales. Useful. You have a door in. And it's quite a lot of space in here. I didn't put anything so far. The actual Trident is on multiple pillars. As you can see, there's quite a lot of support here, so even if some of them get taken out, it shouldn't cause a collapse. Of course, if you take out too much of it, there will eventually at some point be a collapse, so you want to guard a little bit against that. The inside is fairly spartan, but there's a lot of space that you could actually decorate. You could put in your beds, your storage, your crafting, and whatever you want to have. And as I mentioned, these prongs, the Trident prongs, all work the same way. They work independently, but they all work the same way, so it's more stylistic. And if you have multiple players, you can have 2 here, 1 on this side and 1 on this side, and you'll effectively be able to handle, let's say, 4 times 8 zombies concurrently. 2 groups would come in the middle, 1 here and 1 here, and you'd have 32 concurrent zombies that you would be fighting fairly easily. Now, I also have some iron bars up here if I want to shoot vultures. I have on the sides if I want to go out and do some sniping, for instance. Otherwise, I try to keep a lot of things enclosed, because you don't want cops and everything to be spitting needlessly just randomly when you're inside the base. If you're standing here, obviously they see you, they would. They generally would not be doing that if they're just down here, unless you make a lot of noise, because their vision cone doesn't necessarily go all the way up here. Normally it tends to be very straightforward. But you could be sniping up here, which is pretty good. And if you want to snipe from this side, do that as well. Or you can go out on the balcony. I probably would put railings or something if I was expanding this one. Make a better balcony, because then you would have even more opportunities to be sniping at random zombies. Not necessarily when they're hordes and everything, because then they'll be bashing your supports trying to get to you there. Now, what are we going to do here? I think we should be spawning in some ferals. So let me see if I can do that. Let's see here. Let's look at me, feral. Let's get in some Arlene. And they're just walking randomly. Let's make some noise. And see, they run up here. And they come here and... Oh, one jumped and one fell down. One, I think, wanted to bash. The other one is... Well, now they're climbing up the ladder, as it takes quite a long time to get back here. So now we have two of them, and two is not too much. Let's see if we can add in some more. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. Let's do a nurse. Let's do this one. Get some noise, and they're all going to be running here. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 5? 5 plus these ones, we have 7 zombies or something, and you'll probably notice that they are taking damage as they fall down. Because it is 25 block high, and I think that took, let me see, this one took from ID 2102, was at 92, went down to, so it takes about 80 damage. So they will die after not too long. You saw one is dead, Arlene Feral is dead. As a result, with 80 damage, it means that 2 or 3 jumps, they are dead. And sometimes, because they're bashing, you saw they did some damage. I don't know where it did. It could be underneath. I'll have to check that one. They do damage somewhere. But let me see. Let me see if I switch over here. She'll be coming here instead. And you see this one doesn't want to go there because this is closer. And missed. And now they're going here instead. And I think most of them are dead now. Yeah, there's only 2 of them left. So you see, just for random ones, it's fairly easy. You see the vision. They don't see me. See, this is a... Oh! Alright, she jumped to her death. And he's dead. So she lost vision. She turned around and then all of a sudden she couldn't see me. That's interesting. So you know that's something that happens because of the AI. So just normal ones are pretty okay. Let me see if I spawn in a little bit more. Let's get some strippers in here. So this is 25 of them. Oh, they're bashing each other. They're like, damn you, I'm first. And you could stand here and do some melee every time they jump. Oh, strippers are not jumping very far. Oh, that's interesting. It's like they can't jump very well. And now some of them have lost track of me. You can see the ones that are walking off. They're like, I don't even know where I'm doing here. I'm not going to run here. That's so dumb. Because they lose their tracking after a certain amount of time. So after they've done that a couple of times, and I think they're going to start dying as well. You see I think they start at about 250 and it goes down, and after jumping a few times they're all going to be dead. So let's make sure we get them here. Nope, they knocked each other down. Oh, you see that they're all trying to go up the same ones. Maybe that's going to be an issue at some point if you have too many concurrent, because they're all trying to go the same ladder. But I think they're going to start really dying. Alright, yeah, you see the health point is definitely going down. Let's do that. Let's pause it a little bit. And let's go down here. You'll see no real damage here, which is good. No real damage here. See if there's any random damage. No. There might be... Nope. They're dead. there's a little bit of damage on the spikes here. And it's a little bit damage on this wall as well. I think this one they come, there could be some of the raging. I could have potentially pushed this one back another 2 or something. I don't want to do too much because you want to keep a little bit in case they get through. But you could do this. There seems to be a little bit of damage here from the zombies being, they're all going the same way. That might be one reason to do ramps. You could do ramps sort of as a fallback, so you have one ramp going up here just in case the ladders all break down. That might be something to look at as well. But overall, you saw that, you know, there's probably some 30 zombies something have been killed already, and it hasn't taken any effort. You're just spawning them in and they all go and die. So let me do a kill all, and I'm gonna go to a normal Blood Moon Horde here where the game stage is. Probably going to be about 500 game stage, only 8 concurrent ones, so it's going to be a fairly high one, but not too many of them. And give me a moment and I'll be back with that. And now we are at 2200 hours at day 28. And game stage is 490. Okay, so we should be seeing them. Okay, we see them run in on the bottom right here. And I am in the middle Trident. If I shoot some, you'll see that. Which means they are going on the black tower. It's almost like chess. And they'll be jumping there. And I did detaching the camera here just so it'd be easier to see what's happening. The spiders are really jumping here. And yep, they go there, they jump, and they do a swan dive into the water. Probably get hit by the... No, that's alright. Hit by the cops, not too bad. Hopefully I don't get killed. That would be sort of embarrassing. Interesting that they actually, because of the angle, fall all the way to the other side. That's interesting. That's probably why they were hitting the far wall, because they make such a long jump. I can probably deal with that in some way. Gonna have to think about that one, because yeah, they jump off, and because they miss the bottom of the where I'm standing, they just continue on that same trajectory, and they almost even at some point hit the wall there. Okay, unavoidable. But you see, you know, it's going fairly well here. They come in, and then let's do LEC. Yeah, a lot of them are dying for the fall damage. I don't think necessarily the radiated ones would, because they heal. Let's see. Yeah, I think the radiated potentially might continue if you don't shoot them manually. And yeah, this is how it is. Let me get back into character here, so you can see them run up here. Let's see if I can bash one of this when it comes running, and miss. And okay, so I can just do that manually. Take out the cops. The cops are always the problem. And he just fell down. Miss. Okay, timing is everything. And I'm not good at timing. But you see, it takes him such a long time to run down here that it's... If I had a scope here, I could probably... And if I'm standing it right in the middle, I think they might take both sides. Okay, let's see if I can time it here again. And jump. Okay, that one I got. So you can stand here and you can just slash at them. And he just got killed there. That might be easier. Oh. Come on, don't do that. Jump, don't puke at me. Oh, too heavy. Can't actually jump apparently. So, you know, this is a fairly high game stage. And not an issue at all. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get back out of this, and I'm gonna start at really high game stage 1, 17,000, and we'll see how that goes. It's gonna be more of the radiated ones, my standard test. Stop, pew, right before the vomit. Okay, we're now back in max game stage. You'll see 17,000. I mean, of course, you could have it higher, but effectively it's the highest one because there's no stages above that anyway. Still just 8. We'll see on the bottom right, they are coming in. I'm going to see, I have this one. They're coming in and they're going to be running up. Again, the black tower here. See if I can actually bash them here as they come in. They're gonna be... See if I can... Yes, I managed to hit some, hopefully. Not so easy from this perspective. You don't see exactly where you're hitting. And the cops just seem to be... That's interesting. They don't jump. Maybe they can't actually jump. But you see the 8 ones, they fall down and then it takes such a long time for them to come up again. And okay, some come from other sides as well. And here they're coming back. And I suspect that I can stand here for quite a long time. The only problem really is the cops, because they vomit. If they're radiated, they're going to heal more than the damage they take. And that means that they're going to be just adding on. Let me get out of this one. Oop, okay, I'm looking this way. So you see they're coming here. I think I destroyed the block inadvertently here. Oops. Not that it really matters. And oh yeah. So these ones definitely you want to take out. Oh. And he's going to do damage down there, unfortunately. So exploding cops are going to happen. If you can shoot them beforehand, that would be much better. The regular ones, they're going to fall down, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But you see you get more of the radiated ones because it is a higher game stage, which makes it a little bit harder for having cops, but everything else should be just fine. I think those 2 cops, they're dead. So a bit more damage, but I don't think it should be really a major problem for this base. I could probably stand there the whole time. There are some damage that is taken from the vomit, like these ones. These are not necessarily load bearing, at least all of them. But of course, if they do open up, then you could get vultures or something that fly in and attack you. Ooh, good one. So you definitely want to make sure you take care of the cops. You see they spit and they do pretty bad damage. Now, if I wanted to shift over, I could do that by coming over here. And so would they. All the sets would do that. If I go over to the other side, they would come here. And all the ones that are up here, they would start running in between. The ones that are further down, they might go like, well, I'm going to aggro on the wall instead of the pool. Oh. Hello. You're not invited. How did... Okay. Bonus points for anyone who figures out how he made it up here. I mean, he can't use the hatchavator. Or can they? Maybe he glitched into it and ended up coming up. Wow, that's really, really interesting. I don't know how that went. Anyway, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to reset this and do 64 concurrent ones, and we'll see how that turns out. And now, the fun begins. We should be having 64 concurrent zombies at... See, they're just spawning in here. Game stage 17,000. See, they're coming up here, and you should be seeing a lot of the radiated ones. You see, they're just spawning in on the left side, and they're running up a little bit of a weird way, but that's fine. More and more, and you'll be getting the cops coming in vomiting. Oh, spawning Screamer Horde? What? The Screamer Horde? Well, I guess me coming at the same time. Anyway, you see that now they're coming. Now they're starting to build up. I do foresee a fair bit of damage from the vomit. You see there are some cops at the bottom that are trying to shoot at me, and they're spitting straight up and hitting everything. Maybe it's the angle that they're looking at me. You might want to have to block off the line of sight in some of this one for if you're doing a really bad game stage. Oh, am I taking damage? No, I'm good. If I put in, it should be alright. I'm not dying. Look at how much there are. Look at all these ones. Just so many of them. And let's see if I up the gamma just a little bit. Look at this. I'm still alive. But of course the cops are spitting and all the zombies are just coming from all over. And you see at the bottom there are some that are aggroing against the wall as well. I think it is because when they jump, the trajectory puts them too close to the wall there. I would have to do something to prevent that. That was a little bit unanticipated. It's just that the jumping trajectory just brings them too close in some cases. So they do aggro at the far wall, which is what you want to avoid. The water will help a little bit because you see they're moving really slowly in it. But there are just so many of them here. And all of them can't get up. Some of them get there. The cops are vomiting. They're pissed off. And let's see, what time is it now? Now it's 1 in. Oh, I'm taking a lot of damage here. Whoa. Okay, so let me get back into my first aid. That would be embarrassing if I die here. Alright, heal up please. Where's my weapon? No, I lost my weapon as well. No! No gun. I guess I have to make do with bashing them here. Means that it's difficult to take care of the cops. You see, you get a lot of cops because they might not be... Oh, they knock each other down. Oh, that's really interesting. It's almost like they go like that. They're spitting at each other. Okay. That works, but of course, bases like this are not really meant for 64 zombies. And with all that cops, it just does so much damage. I wish I still had my gun though. I had this one. I have the cheaty pea shooter. Because the other ones, less of an issue. You know, they'll jump over and you're all good. See if I can... Okay, I can get someone there. Yeah, I can definitely bash them. No, almost is not an issue. It's the cops where they're vomiting. If I get them, we're all good. Get rid of him. You see, just the normal ones, you know, they come and they jump and they fall down and that's it. But when you get the cops, that's when you start having some issues with all the vomit. It's sort of like doing the same thing all over again. Some of them seems to be refusing to jump. But they ultimately all jump. Oh. I bet there's one up here. Potentially. Could it be coming? Yeah. See ya. Don't come here. Don't bother me, young man. But it looks really good. You see all these radiated ones, because the normal ones tend to die after 1 or 2 falls. The radiated ones, I don't even know if they will die over time, because they heal so much and it takes them such a long time. Yeah, see, they die from the fall. Oh. That's interesting. He was ragdolled by his old friend. Knocked down. See, killed by 171. Oh, it's too bad it doesn't say if a friend killed him or the fall one. But anyways, you see, you know, this is no issue. The cops are the only one, because they're doing this kind of damage. And that's unavoidable. One way you could help prevent some of that is that you stop blocking off the visual line of sight, such that they don't have line of sight unless they're up here, because that would give you more time to pop them. Now they might be down here and vomiting. It's difficult to prevent because you don't have the visibility all over. But if you prevent the visibility until they reach up here, maybe somehow by putting screens on these walkways, maybe that's something that helps. The cop obviously they killed each other, and that's interesting. They killed each other, and one of them ended up having some loot. That's one of the downskate. Let me halt that one here. Oh, he actually jumped there and landed there. Oh yeah, I guess he could. So obviously, because of the trajectory of jumping, some of them end up here and they start bashing things, and that takes out some of this. Actually, except this one, there's actually surprisingly little damage. There's some of the spikes, but that's, you know, that's all right. That's not a major problem to replace. Not so bad. I thought it was going to be more. Fairly. Oh, there's some here. You have the loot bag. Oh, they're all here. Is any good loot? No. Any good loot here then? No, I think that vanished. And there is some damage here from exploding cops. That is one of the things that is hard to avoid. But otherwise, yeah, I think this worked really, really well. The fact of you having multiple of these ones will help to offload. The worst problem is really the cop vomit, because this is a really open design. But if you stop blocking off the visual bits such that there's no way for them to visually see things, that actually could help avoid that problem as well, because then you only have cops right in front of you spitting and not sort of from the whole area here. That's something you might want to consider, and how we can do that. Something to keep in mind. But again, this is also 64 zombies at max game stage, and we are almost halfway in actually. And nothing has failed. There's been some damage. Nothing that is structurally unsound. And of course, it would be some repairs to be completed. But yeah, otherwise, no, I think that's really good. So the 2 towers with a triple platform leading up to the Trident, I think it should work overall very well. If you have multiple players, that works as well. Having metal helps, because that allows you to do more overhang. They do jump and get this weird trajectory where they just miss this one and fall down here. Potentially by having some screens here hanging down, that could prevent that trajectory over there and make them hit that one and fall straight down. That might be one way to resolve that. Overhangs helps otherwise. You just want to make sure that things don't crumble because it's too heavy. And the drop, having 25... Whoop, did I knock him down? Can I? I can. I didn't realize I could bump them. Okay. By having a 25 fall, they take about, 70 or 80 damage. So a lot of them die after maybe 2 falls, maybe 3, unless they're radiated. And that's why the radiated ones survive, because they tend to heal up by the time they come up again. So it takes a while for them to run up anyway, through the water, up the ladder, and around this one. So if you just have 8, you don't get a lot of pressure up at the top, because there's so few of them coming up here. If you want to do sniping or shooting from the top, that works. You could do melee. It's a little bit troublesome to do the timing, but it works. But definitely there's ways to improve, and I look for all of you to give me some suggestions in the comments of how would you improve this and what would you make differently. And of course, like and subscribe and all of that. And I would also consider where and how would I use traps. Blade traps at the ladders, maybe some electric fences, dart traps could be used as well. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.
Special thanks to the great patrons supporting the channel. If you would like to join the vetted community and support these videos, do follow the Patreon link.